To summarize chapter 1 a little bit, it talks about what we have in store for us in the future and the different ways that the future could go, whether it's positive or negative. And the book talks about how humanity will change more in the next 20 years than it did in the previous 300 years, which I think is really interesting because obviously 300 years is a lot longer than 20 years, and we've come a really long way in the past 300 years, technologically speaking, and the fact that that's just gonna speed up because we've come so far already, and then it's just gonna keep I guess bouncing off of everything else, which it makes sense if you think about it, because everything that we've learned so far is just gonna help us learn even more, and we'll be able to learn stuff quicker and progress faster just because of everything that we've learned in the last 300 years. The book also talks about how it's really difficult to really understand the impacts that we could face if technology takes over, because it seems so far away, but we're actually a lot closer than one might think. So when technology begins to trump humanity, that could be pretty drastic. It can include a lot of issues like loss of privacy, technological unemployment, or human de-skilling, which just mean that, humans don't really do anything and technology does everything for us, which would make us very lazy. Some of these technological changes are likely to threaten the very fabric of society and ultimately challenge our very humanness. So society as a whole could just entirely change based off of technology. The technological external brains are morphing quickly, and it starts with knowing me, to representing me, to being me. Outside of the chapter 1 reading, from the videos I got, that there are certain questions concerning technology. Some of these are: what will the use of this technology encourage me to notice and ignore? Does the use of this technology arouse anxiety? And how does this technology empower me, at whose expense? These are just a couple of the questions, but I wrote them down when I was taking my notes because I felt like they applied to me a lot more than the other ones. And then went on to talk about affordances, which are what a user can do with an object based on the user's capability. In other words, it's the relation between user and object, and an example is a door affords opening if one can reach the handle. Another way to think of it is what actions are possible. And then I wrote down this quote from Don Norman, and he said, "When affordances are taken advantage of, the user knows what to do just by looking. No picture, label, or instructions are needed." So that quote helped me to really grasp the idea that they wanted to get across. Signifiers are a perceivable cue about the affordance, and an example is push or pull signs for doors or crosswalks. So then when we think about design, design doesn't really have anything to do with the affordance. It has to do with signifiers. Design could really make or break the efficiency of an affordance, based on how people perceive it. And different types of affordances are perceptible, hidden, false, physical, cognitive, sensory, functional, pattern, and negative. So the theory of affordances is talked about in one of the videos, and it says affordances are the properties of an object that allow it to function. Users perceive actions to be possible, meaning the user assumes an action can be made from outside of the actions that are being presented to them. When designing actual and perceived affordances must be considered. And then I have the philosophy of the technology of the gun. Technology is subservient to our beliefs and desires. And then there's a quote from the NRA: "Guns don't kill people, people kill people." But the NRA fails to convey perceptual affordances offered by gun possession. So with that, they mean like guns don't kill people and people kill people. The perceptual affordance of a gun is to shoot things, and that's just how all people see guns. You wouldn't get a gun to cook dinner. Like, that's just, everyone knows that you get a gun to shoot things. I think that what we learned in the videos really intertwined with what we learned from chapter 1 in the book, because I feel like affordances are going to play a really big role in shaping how our future looks.